We're off.
They'll never let me tell that joke again.
Not on camera. Um, so last place we left off, I believe that the three of y'all were down inside of the sort of the treasure room, while Lord Dadu and Emir were up sort of watching the entrance. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's right.
Cool. You are also muted.
I was in the hole.
Yes. It is continually amusing when I can hear you and no one else can't.
I know.
I mean, you guys are far enough away. I'm not picking you up when Miles talks or vice versa, so you don't have to mute.
You don't.
No, it's because I'm like doing something in here, like crunching a bag or something, and I don't want to put that on the camera. I'm opening snacks, Ryan, and I want to do that in private.
Snack privacy.
Yes, very important.
Okay.
I was in the hole.
You were in the hole. So the last thing I remember about this is you were trying to stake out and wait for Scoville to show up?
Well, we're just guarding the place to make sure nothing happens.
While
While
Mulder attunes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was the part that I wasn't 100% on, because I know that at the end of it you had talked about like that and also talked about watching Mulder, and I wasn't sure really what your motivation was for being here. Okay. That would be 3 hours for him to attune. Are you going to try and camp out here to do that? Or is there anything else that you want to be doing during that time? You don't necessarily have to leave here to say that you're going to do something else. But what?
Everything in the hole, was it only gold, like coins, or is it like I want to loot the room?
You want to loot your dad's treasure room.
Yeah. I'm looking specifically for things that might help us on our.
I had declared in last game that the only stuff that was down there was things of monetary value. There were no magical items or potions or anything like that.
Okay.
So while it might not be in the form of like gold coins, you might find gems, you might find pieces of silver, like a candlestick or whatever. Those are the type of things that you would find sort of stashed down in this place.
Okay.
The only time that you've seen your dad and magic items interact at the same time is when he pulls out the chest that he keeps underneath the counter inside of the headquarters.
Okay. So I guess I don't want to loot the room because there's nothing in there.
I mean, you can't. It's not that there's nothing. It's just that what's in there is worth money and not like, I don't know, a shotgun.
Okay, why not? Let's do it. What do I do?
You want to loot the room?
Yeah, I don't know. Is that what it's called? That's from Munchkin, isn't it?
I mean, that term is a sort of a trigger phrase in Munchkin, but it came from Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, great. I'm in the right place.
Okay, so if you're wanting to like collect the wealth out of this place, your character doesn't have a bag of holding. So you wouldn't be able to take all of it yourself.
But Kelly's with her, and Kelly has a bag of holding.
Yeah, and the last I heard, Kelly's bag of holding had about half the wealth of the party in it.
Yeah,
I didn't think I wanted to take everything. I don't want to take all my dad's stuff, but like
I'm more pointing that out, not like as in you want to loot the entire place, but more the fact that if about half of the wealth of the entire party is inside of Kelly's bag is very full now. So you're limited on what you can take, and it's not so much that you couldn't necessarily take it all. There's nobody guarding it right now.
I'm just gonna fill my pockets with coins for later.
Okay. Cool. Then let's say this is fun. Let's look at what your passive is. Passive insight is a -2.
Passive insight?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So that would be passive insight of 8. Okay. That would mean, let me get the dice out. Okay. You collect 13 platinum pieces.
Wow.
Super. I'm gonna put
Are
them
gonna
in
be loaded.
rogue pockets.
Well, I mean, he is a level 20 rogue. And as far as age is concerned, he's basically at the age he probably should stop roguing.
Mm,
So this is basically like life savings,
yeah, I'm just borrowing a bit.
right?
Bad. It's
Just
fine.
taking it out of your college fund.
Exactly. I wasn't going there anyway. Okay, that's what's happening for me in the hole. Who else was in the hole? Mulder, but he's attuning.
Right.
And Torch
Torch and Tonks.
and Tonks. Ooh, what are y'all gonna do?
So likewise, if you want to, you can also loot the room. Clearly, River has no scruples about stealing from family. Who knows? That might be a bonding ritual within that house.
Oh,
We steal each other's gifts at Christmas. It's fun.
I don't really have any needs other than a scroll of find familiar. So since you said there's no magic items here, I think I'm good.
Yeah, not in this space. Same for you, Kelly.
Yeah.
You're sitting on a ton of gold, like your whole group is. But specifically, Kelly, if the entire group, I don't know, died immediately, you would have enough money to retire 10 times over right now. So definitely paying off to be the leader of the group.
Ah,
Well,
What's that?
I just the way he's yeah, he's like gonna off me. That's what that looks like.
Not you. I mean, if I just off you, the rest of the group would get mad. But if the whole group dies,
I'm gonna get looted.
That's what's going to happen. We're going to die in one session. The next week that we play, everyone is going to show up in that room and loot the bodies and go, wow, this is ridiculous. Okay. Then what about you, Ryan? Dadu and Amir are up top. Is Dadu going to try and do anything else while he's up there?
well, who else, is there anybody else up there with us?
No, the rest of the guild has left. And there wasn't anyone else in the stables except there is a donkey. Yeah, that's the only stuff that you'd be able to tell in here.
Okay. So Ymir and I, are we just inside or just outside of the main door?
You were just inside, so imagine sort of a like a rectangular building, and the entire interior of it is closed off from the outside. There is one central walkthrough that faces the front door of the Rotten's headquarters, and it goes all the way through to the other side, which goes out to an alleyway. That is the way that when you met River, that you return to the Rotten's headquarters is through that entryway.
Okay. In the building, would there by chance be some rope and a bunch of tin cans
Tin cans probably not, but
or
rope
glass
is easy to
or
find.
anything that really just makes noise upon contact?
Okay, so I'll give you that you can probably find rope without trying. If you want to find anything like that, I'm gonna need you to make a. Let's do an investigation check.
Oh, it was so close to being good.
Did it show up? Because I didn't get it.
I mean, it
Oh,
showed
there
up,
it is. There
but
it
I'll
is.
gladly do it again.
Yikes. Okay, yeah, see some. I think I already know this, but okay. So while you don't find anything like that in the barn, you venture to guess that if you find a rubbish heap somewhere around this area, you can probably find some broken bottles and cans.
Great. So what I'd like to try to do is not necessarily the perimeter of the courtyard in front of the main door, but kind of like halfway between us and the edge of the courtyard in front of the main door. I want to kind of set a rope with anything that jingles or makes noise. That way, if something tries to come through there, it's going to make some noise.
Okay.
Nice.
What would I need to do to accomplish said task?
I'm gonna call that a survival roll.
Wow. At least I did better on that one than the other one.
Okay, so using the materials you found, you're able to sort of lay out like pieces of broken glass around the exterior of the doorway and then dangle cans from string above the doorway so that if anybody walks in, you will either hear crunching glass, knocking of cans, or both. And Lords forbid if something walks through there without shoes on.
Huh?
And on that note and everything, I'd like to double up the glass shards and everything in front of the door.
Okay.
Yes, I want it to do damage if it comes through without shoes on. Even if it comes through with shoes on, I want it to hurt.
If they come
Now
through,
you know why I'm stealing shoes. Yeah.
if it comes through with shoes on, it's considered difficult terrain, which means that they move at half speed. If they're not wearing shoes, it's still considered difficult terrain, but it deals 1d6 per 5-foot square they move through.
That's probably only a 5-foot square area, but still.
Yeah. I mean, unless, you're using your Eldritch Blast or whatever to just rake them back and forth across the line of glass, because then it's just 1d6, 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 1d6.
I love this idea. I hadn't thought about that.
That's the reason why getting Warlock with Eldritch Blast and then stacking it so that it can use the push and pull maneuver can become incredibly powerful, because then you can just have somebody drop down things like Wall of Fire. And then you just have somebody go back and forth through that over and over and over again throughout battle. And there's nothing they can do to stop it because you just keep hitting.
And the great thing about it is I have both of those.
I'm just saying, like, that is a very powerful combination of spells and abilities.
Hi, I'm Lord Vader, just in green.
Okay.
Aside from that, I think we're just gonna prep to see if anybody tries to kind of come through and keep watch.
Okay.
So I guess we're guarding.
Yep. Fun.
We rolled an actual 1.
On 100, I rolled a 1.
You did? Oop, where'd it go? Whoa.
What does that mean? What does the 1 mean?
I'm looking at my chart. 1 sec.
Oh. Oh, it's not like a bad thing. It's just it's a for a table.
It is. Yeah, it's for table. Okay. Huh. Okay. Who wants to call it high or low? 51 to 100 or 1 to 50? Anybody?
Low.
Low. Got it. Ooh, okay.
So
That's
close.
it's very close. Okay. Um. So regardless of what's going on, no matter how rested you are, Dedud, you don't have to sleep at all. Not just because you just took a long rest, but because elf. Um, so you should be set up there. What's your passive perception?
16.
Okay. You smell something sort of earthy, almost like pine needles and wet, damp moss, the kind of thing that you would smell going by a river in a forest. It smells fresh and out of place in this space.
Can I
And-
tell if it's
Huh?
can I tell if it's in the building or out of the building?
You can't tell. You just are able to detect it. And as you are sort of beginning to pay attention to that, you can hear the tinkling of the glass in front of the door as leaves start to blow through on the wind, and the glass begins to move with them.
Something's moving my glass out of the way. All right. I'm going to use my bonus action and put the mask on and activate it for true sight.
Okay. Didn't you do that last time? Like after your long rest?
I don't think so. I don't have it marked down at all.
That's okay. Okay, I see what I need to do there. I just have to update the number or the item a little bit so it's easier to use in that aspect. So we can track that better. But
Okay.
cool, yeah, activated. And looking out through the doorway, you don't see anything that isn't already visible to you.
Do I see anything in the room behind us or around us?
Mm-mm.
Just something moving the glass, huh? Or the wind moving the glass.
The wind. What'd you say your passive perception was again?
16.
16. While you don't see anyone in either of the doorways, something does catch your eye, and there's this glowing that's coming from the ceiling above you. You don't notice it at first because it's not what you're looking for, but then you start to catch it out of your periphery, right about here. And you look up and you can see that there are all of these runes and incantations that have been sort of interwoven above you into the structure of this thing. And they are glowing this sort of muted pink color. If you want to make an Arcana roll, you can. That's a 5.
Thanks.
So you're not quite sure what that is, but it definitely looks like something magical.
And we're still apart, right?
Well, yeah, and regardless of whether you're apart or not, none of you can see it.
Okay.
He can see it because he activated the true seeing in his mask.
But like we have to be together in order to like support in the roles, right?
Yeah, and also this is the kind of thing that you wouldn't be able to because your character just can't see it.
Okay.
If it was something that everybody could see, then yeah, you could help him decipher what it is. But the only way that you'd be able to see it is if you had a spell that would allow you to see it, like true seeing, or you were attuned to the mask and then you use the mask. Um, but you do notice that there's something going on that you didn't see sort of in the mundane world.
Okay, with these runes and everything, can I tell if they're like abyssal, elvish, or giant at all?
Oh, like what language it's written in. Yeah, actually, I could give you that. You would be able to tell by looking at it that it is Draconic.
It's what? Draconic?
Draconic.
Great. So Legend of Dragon.
Now, yeah, Draconic is the language of dragons. Draconic is also the oldest language that has ever been used to write magic. Because magic originally came from such great and powerful things as dragons, and well, here we are. But you can tell for sure that it's written in Draconic. I don't think that you can. I don't think you can speak Draconic though, can you?
No, I cannot. At least not currently.
Didn't you have a spell that allowed you to?
I have comprehend language as a spell,
Mhm.
but in order to understand written things, I have to be touching the surface for it.
Is there a loft to climb up into to touch the surface?
There is not. And from floor to ceiling is about 15 feet. But that doesn't mean that you couldn't, like, I don't know, grab a barrel and stand on it or something like that if you wanted to try and make that happen.
But
Just
you
tell-
said these were glyphs, or what'd you say they were?
I said that they were runes and incantations.
It says the spell doesn't decode secret messages in text or a glyph such as ancient sigils.
Right.
That is part of a written language.
Right. The idea is that if it is a written language and not some sort of obscure symbol, then you get to comprehend the language. If, for instance, the symbol that you're looking at is actually just the symbol that's used between 6 friends that all are part of a murder cult, you don't know what that means.
Okay. So yeah, is there
I know
anything
that's a weird example, but that's D&D for you.
is there anything I can stand on that I could be touching the roof to try to understand this writing?
Let me see something real quick and I can tell you for sure.
Okay, hear me out. What if you Eldritch blast into the floor and shoot yourself up to the roof and grab onto one of the beams?
I love it.
No, I
You
was
know-
not looking for all of that.
I love this idea and everything, but that's probably going to require like some kind of acrobatics check, and all of my checks so far have sucked.
Okay, well, it's a backup plan. If you can't find a ladder.
Okay. I think that might work. It's about 1 minute to read one. Okay. So here's a fun one if you want to try and make this work. You are 5'8". Amir is 4'6". Between the two of you, that's over 10 feet. Kiddo is now another 1.5 feet. So you're getting close. That's like, let's say 12 feet. Actually, you don't even need to go through all of this because you've got Kiddo with you, right?
Yeah.
Kiddo can deliver any of your spells that have a range of touch, including comprehend language.
Hey, yay.
All right.
I
Well,
still
that
like my
makes that
idea,
up.
but that's better.
It was like,
I do like
wait. We're Rube Goldberging this and we don't need to.
Death by door.
Anyway, yeah, so you can actually just have Kiddo go up and touch it and then comprehend language works.
Okay. Well, it uses a spell, but okay.
It
Let's
does.
go ahead and do that.
Okay. Boom. Yeah, you can clearly comprehend the words in it. What you're looking at appears to be a transmutation spell. And it's not one that you know, but from the description of it, let me see. Um, okay, there we go. So reading the spell, it seems to be some sort of a polymorph spell. It is the instructions on it are trying to change one thing into another thing. And according to it, the trigger is trying to leave this place with the treasure.
With a treasure or with a treasure chest?
With the treasure.
Interesting. And by this place, you mean like the house, right?
Correct. I'm not giving you like a verbatim rundown of what it says. You're getting the gist of it because it's not a spell your character knows.
Okay.
But yeah, the idea is that you're looking at it and you're like, okay, well, it's clearly talking about having a creature and then changing that creature into something else. But it says it doesn't happen unless you take treasure out of here.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell Ymir this right away. And being neither of us have a sending stone, I can't tell our female companions, but I will ask them before they leave the house whether or not they looted the secret room.
Oh,
Nothing bad happens to them.
Are you gonna make a note of that for yourself somewhere?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I just planted it in Brooke's brain, so isn't that my note?
That's how I keep notes.
I mean, it seems like a better method than my methods.
You said I picked up 13 platinum coins, right?
Correct. 13 platinum.
And nothing else.
Nope. Lucky 13.
Okay, is that all we see right now going on?
I'm also going to tell you that around the exterior of that spell, it appears that there are a bunch of like caterpillars, like hanging like cocoons off of the ceiling.
Gross. Y'all got bugs in your house. I'm just saying.
But
Isn't this a
transmuting,
barn?
right?
I thought it was a
What?
barn.
It's the Rotten's headquarters. I think that's where we're at, right? Are we in the barn or the Rotten's headquarters?
You are in the barn outside of the Rotten's headquarters.
Oh, in that case, it's perfectly fine to have bugs. It's a barn.
Did you say something before, Kelly? There were a couple of people talking.
The spell you said would transform something, and I'm like, and then there's butterflies, like they transform. So like, we loot this place and create butterflies. Is what's happening here?
You know, you're not going to know until it happens. So the question here becomes, how badly does Lord Dadu want to see someone else turn into something?
Well, I mean, maybe you should give one of those coins to Ymir and put the rest back.
Emir, you collect coins, right?
Okay, so is the 3 hours of Muldair's attuning gone by safely?
Yeah, the only thing that that was on, or there was only one random encounter on the list, and it already happened.
Okay. So then,
So yeah, you are waiting for about 3 hours, and I forget if we declared it last time. I thought that we had said that you were leaving like the entrance into the treasure trove open.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So from down there, Mulder has sort of like gotten down on the floor, crossed his legs, and is got the ring on his middle finger and is just sort of holding it like this and just looking at his hand really sort of intensely. And you start to see little crackles of blue electricity starting to pop along the outsides of his hair as it starts to stand on end. And then you hear an audible snap, like electricity popping through a socket. And his eyes just flare blue. That son of a bitch! He made me think we were friends. All right. All right, all right, all right, all right. He seems incredibly shaken by whatever the hell just happened. And immediately hops up and begins to pace. And you can see there's now a second Mulder spectrally also pacing back and forth past each other. They're muttering to each other in a language that most of you probably don't understand. Who here has Sylvan? I don't know if anyone does. I don't think anyone does. Okay. My mind's a lot clearer now. And for better or worse, I understand what's going on. This is a very elaborate ruse. And unfortunately, I'm not entirely certain that it will be quite so easy to get out of as just defeating this insane megalomaniac in a tower. Right now, he has two big things affecting this city. And I fear that if we can't account for them, that things might get worse before we can act. That spell that he cast that changed everybody's memory. Now I understand why. Muddling up everyone's minds, keeping them from being able to think about what happened, about the life before all of this. It's making us docile. He's hurting us. Whatever monstrous end he has in mind, he intends to corral every living thing within the bounds of this city and use them as some sort of monstrous component to an unwieldy spell that should never have been known. Right now we sit on, well, we're in limbo. Limbo is the realm where all magic springs. It's the place that all of it comes from. It's a realm of absolute and complete nothingness. But for those of us that are adept at wielding magic, with strong enough will, you can bend this place to do what you like. So he used the magic that was here and encircled this place in an impenetrable shield, in order to prevent anyone from getting in and stopping him. And even after that, it wasn't enough to have us all inside of a glass dome. He also had to make sure that none of us could fight back. I don't know whether it's providence or chance or just dumb luck that the lot of you weren't affected by this. But Ivor is not the savior of this city. Ivor isn't anything but a monster. And I fear that the longer that we wait, the worse this becomes for everyone. At this point, I'm not even certain that we would be wise to attempt to struggle with something of this power. It might be better off if we just leave the plane entirely. But that's not really an option with the way things are now either. I can help with setting everyone's minds free, but it will take a lot from me. So while I'm doing that, I won't be any good to you for anything else. What I can offer you, though, is a little bit of insight. And the entire room that you're in down here, it almost expands infinitely. You can't see the edges of the room anymore. And it all goes dark until you hear this raspy breathing. And you hear these very loud, echoing footsteps on cold marble. You can't see anything moving in this space. You've lost sight of everyone except Mulder. Please, try as hard as you can to stay calm. Everything that you're seeing right now is 100% real. But I am masking us. Please do not draw any more attention. As you see him fade out of view, and where he was standing, you see Scobold is now walking through the center of this darkness. A halo of light around him. And he steps up to the foot of a very large dais, steps going up maybe 40, 50 feet to a massive throne. You can't see the face of the person that's sitting atop the throne, but you can see two long, bony hands raked over the sides with nails like knives digging into it. They'll be coming closer soon. You'll see, Scovold says, and the tapping of the nails on the throne is enough to drive these chills all the way up your back. I promise. This will be the last time that I fail you. And you see him enrobe himself in shadow, the same way that you've seen those creatures do on the street. He's now 10, 15 feet tall, black as night, and enshrouded in this dark, hooded, almost bat-like carapace with massive wings. And suddenly, you remember this as the creature that attacked Silvertongue Farms. The one that took Illyria's parents. This was the monster in shadow. See that you don't. And the entire vision slams like a door. And you are jettisoned back into this treasure room so quickly that the coins on the shelves tinkle and fall off. Mulder is breathing heavily. His entire body looks like he's just run a marathon, sweating bullets. I can watch him for a time. He's not moving. But it's because he thinks he's already won. It's best if he keeps thinking that for now. If you can find a way to open the gate, the shield around the city, I can wake everybody up. And I'll do you one better. I know how, but I can't do it. And he points straight up. The sphere only goes about 5,000 feet straight up. At the pinnacle of it, clinging to the top, is a creature that crawled out of the depths of some horrible memory. Looks like a brain with spidery legs, and it clutches onto the edges of this shield. And as long as it maintains concentration, then Ivor doesn't need to. And this spell keeps going. If you can kill that, the whole wall comes down. Can any of you fly?
Doesn't somebody have the fly spell?
They do. Also, Kelly has a magic item that allows her to fly.
Okay, super.
So the three of us have the ability to get up there. I didn't hear any of this.
You didn't. You're still up top.
But if the door is open, wouldn't he have heard through the?
The thing is that he probably could have heard up to the moment that Mulder cast that spell.
Oh, okay,
After that happened, you weren't in that room anymore.
great. Okay,
But at that time, he was also simultaneously involved in what was going on out there.
okay.
Here, just fly up there and put a dagger in it.
Maybe. Have you ever heard of an intellect devourer?
That's
No.
when a smart
Dude,
person
would I know that? Would I have heard of that?
That is an excellent point. Let's take a look at Torch's sheet.
An intellect devour. That's where a dumb person asks a smart person enough dumb questions to make the dumb or smart person rage. It just
Well, Mulder told us what it
like he described what it looked like. Did he not also just tell us what it is?
He didn't.
Okay.
That is the opportunity right now, is either you can roll to try and say, oh yeah, my character already knows everything about that, and this is some other stuff they know. Or you could just ask Mulder, and Mulder will tell you what he wants to tell you.
Okay. Well, I think Kelly should still roll, but I'm just gonna ask, like, the fuck is that?
If you want to roll, Kelly, you can. It's an Arcana roll.
I'm like, eventually, I'm like, either way, you have, as the DM, you'll have to tell me. It's just a matter if you're telling me as the character I already know or as Mulder.
You're right, but also there is sort of a line there in that Mulder or any other character in the game might not share everything there is to know. They might just be like, oh yeah, no, you just stick it with the pointy end. But then if you roll a good enough roll on your knowledge for whatever it is, then you're like, actually, it's a bit more complicated than that. And here's what. That's really the only sort of extra in this situation. A 10 on our Arcana check is good enough for you to know what an intellect devourer is. So the reason why it is so, I don't know, we'll call it commonplace in your particular situation to know what an intellect devourer is because intellect devourers are the chosen pet of liches. Because an intellect devourer, when it's around creatures that have an intelligence score that is over 4, those creatures then must make a save to not be detected by their psychic ability. And if they are detected by their psychic ability, 2 things happen. First of all, the lich immediately knows it. Second, they get to make an attack directly on your intelligence. So if they hit, the damage dealt to you is not in hit points. And something that hasn't happened in game yet, but if any of your ability scores, strength, dex, con, the whole thing, ever reach 0, your character dies.
Oh.
So usually the things that can affect those ability scores are not permanent changes. They're things like, oh, I was poisoned, so now my strength is a 4, or something like that. But when you're in those states, if whatever it is you're dealing with is also hacking away at that, you can die pretty quickly. Like even if you got 150 experience or 150 hit points, if your constitution is a 9 and it goes 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. But anyway, so that's what is dangerous about these things is that they don't like they can deal damage because they have claws and things like that, but their physical damage is nothing compared to what they can do to you in your mind. So they're basically a booby trap plus a monster. If they're within, I think it's 500 yards of the lich, the lich can both see and hear and know everything that the intellect devourer encounters. If it's over that, all they get is the message spell, which still lets them know what the heck's going on. But that's really
How close do you have to be to the intellect devourer for it to use this mojo on you?
within 120 feet.
Wait, how far does my spell go?
Are you going to kill a thing with your spell, Ryan?
No. However, I have learned that if you attack something, it has to make a roll to keep its concentration. And all we have to do is break its concentration, according to Mulder. We don't have to kill it. We just have to break the concentration for the wall to fall.
Right.
And I told Mom I wouldn't kill anything with it.
Okay, fair.
Eldritch Blast doesn't necessarily kill every single time.
I mean, you're right.
Are we gonna accidentally kill something again? No.
Probably.
What did I accidentally kill? Oh, no, wait. Y'all did that, not me.
Okay, yeah, but then also remember the time that you killed those spiders?
Okay, so
that group of people,
that was me.
Oops.
I want to go out of the hole and tell not Ryan, Lord Dadu, all of the things that Mulder just told us.
Okay.
So are you
Mom,
ready me to tell Lord Dadu what I heard?
Huh?
Sure.
I'm doing, that's what I'm doing. Are you ready?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, dude, the wizard guy woke up from his like ring trance, and he told us that there's a brain holding the shield together, that all we have to do is like kill that brain and then we're good. And also he made us go in a vision, and there was a really creepy thing with big claws, and he said a lot of stuff.
Did the thing with claws, did it look scarier than me?
Oh yeah.
It's gotta die. Miles, question for you. I know that every time I reach a certain level, I can switch out my Eldritch invocations.
Huh?
Can I do that on a long rest, or does it only happen when leveling?
I think it's just when leveling. Yeah, it's just when leveling.
Okay.
You can switch your spells on rests, but not that.
Okay, so after I told Lord Dadu all that, I'm gonna say, what you been doing up here?
And I'm gonna tell River, I put on my fun mask here, and with it there are some goldeny looking ruins up there that says if you steal any treasure from this place, some transmutation thing happens, and it doesn't seem good. So just in case any of you all had any great ideas while you were down in the treasure hold, you might want to put anything back. I don't think you would do it because it's your dad's and everything, but my companions, just in case they decide to refill the loot bag, as I want to call it, and everything, might be a good idea to put that back.
Okay, so I'm just gonna like casually back up towards the hole and put my hands in my pockets, and then like scoop the coins out and count them as I drop them back down the hole.
And then
One,
as I'm hearing these coins hit, I'm gonna look at her and say, River, you
four,
amazing rogue, you.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
That's all the ones you know about.
I'm sure your dad would have been proud anyway. I'm just saying. But if you got an extra one, you might want to hand it to Ymir. I hear he likes coins.
Okay, so my pockets are empty.
Mhm.
Um,
I mean, empty of coins.
right, like I put all the coins back. Okay, that's it. Just want to make sure that happened. And also I had to make sure Daddy knew what happened while we were down in the hole.
You're 100% right.
I just want to declare that the coins would have made me curious, so I'm climbing out of the hole to join them.
I just added to the session chat what an intellect devourer looks like.
Hmm. Hey, Tonks, just in case you were wondering, can't steal from here because it'll make you turn into something bad. Just so you know.
Good to know. Good to know. Now, does this mean that we have a mind flare in the area, or is it just in Baldur's Gate that they're associated? Okay.
They are traditionally associated with each other because illithids are known as brain eaters. And so these type of things are the perfect little pet to run around and hunt brains. But they tend to be really, really good pets for any majorly evil big bad because they take direction well, and they're incredibly dangerous for how unbelievably easy they are to raise. They do not have a lot of hit points, but they are fierce. Oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong. It's not. It's an intelligence of 3 or higher, and if they're within 300 feet.
300.
So to clarify, I don't have Eldritch Spear, so I only have a range of 120 feet anyway. And even at 300 feet, it would have still been able to reach me before I could do anything to it. Unless we surprise it.
Okay, coolsies.
And that's like a psychic thing, so it's not like a sight thing, right?
Right. Yeah,
Ask
the
Aldair
no.
if he knows of a weapon that could reach it or a spell that could protect someone's intelligence, like a tinfoil hat for somebody to use to fly up and kill it.
I have guiding bolt.
Ooh.
I picked that up with my warlock class.
I mean, I have a crossbow. What's the range on that? Not very much.
Range on guiding bolt is only 120 feet.
Damn it.
And
God.
it's the same on your crossbow, I believe, River. Crossbow is, yeah, max 120.
Yeah. Okay. So
But as he had declared before, I hope somebody knows how to fly.
yeah. Emil knows how to make bombs, right? So what if we found like a drainage pipe that would fit the bomb in it, and then Dadu could Eldritch blast the bomb out of the end of the tube, and would it shoot further? I want to make a bazooka.
Or a cannon. I'm really not sure which.
Or a cannon, whatever. I'm just thinking, like, is there a way to shoot it further? I don't know why I keep doing that. It's been a long day. You need to say no.
It's not no, it's that you don't have the things necessary to do it right now.
That's what I kind of thought. Okay, I'll stop.
Wait, I'm just thinking outside the box, but on the idea of the bomb and everything, we do have a cat that can teleport.
Yes, we do.
Could he teleport up there and then
Who can
let go
teleport?
of the bomb and then teleport back?
Who can teleport?
Midnight.
Midnight.
Oh. Okay. I was like, I can't teleport anymore because I don't have the staff. But Midnight can teleport.
Yeah, but she can only teleport 40 feet.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
What if I was in the ethereal plane? Would the thingy be able to detect me in there?
Probably not, but also you're still like on the ground.
I can fix that.
I feel like somebody can make me fly.
And at level 4, I can cast fly, or I can cast fly at level 4, and I can fly with one willing other creature.
So
I would have my goggles to protect me to be in the ethereal plane, but what about you?
Well, if I get you within 120 feet and you go into the ethereal plane, couldn't you do something to it?
Probably. But if you're within 300 feet of it, you're going to take damage.
I mean, it's entirely possible that I'll take damage with
Sorry,
minerals.
Does anybody have a way to make me fly that's not that?
I have
so
the thing, but it's not the same level.
Were you going to say something, Miles?
yep, for a bit now.
Yeah.
Doing that will not work the way you think it will.
Okay.
Your etherealness when you use that is active for, what is it, 10 minutes?
1 minute?
I have to look at your sheet to be sure. This is what happens when you make items and forget.
The nightshades. Oh, it is 10 minutes. I'm sorry. Must remain within 120. No.
That's for your double.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you remove the goggles or speak the command word again, then it ends immediately. But otherwise, it's in effect for 10 minutes.
Mhm.
So what I am sort of putting out there for you is that I think it is unlikely that you will be able to use your action to go ethereal and then somehow continue onward towards the intellect devourer, like motion wise, and then come back out and attack it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the moment that you're in the ethereal plane, any spells that were cast on you cease to be in effect. Because you're no longer on the same plane.
Right.
So then
Okay.
you drop like a stone in the ethereal plane. Because you're no longer flying. For 10 minutes or until you impact the ground.
Okay, so not that.
So, because you are literally changing planes of existence, anything that is cast on you doesn't work anymore.
If I was in the ethereal plane, what is my movement? Do I have free movement? Can I just like will myself to float 5,000 feet up?
It's not like the Matrix, it's just another place.
Okay. Because I
Um,
can walk through walls and stuff, so I didn't know.
That's the thing is that you're not a spirit. If you were
Right.
a spirit, you would have those abilities, but this is just the place spirits go.
Got it.
So, like, while you're here, if you were dead, you could do that.
Okay.
What you've basically got is just a shortcut around things with this.
Mm-hmm.
what
If-
about a specter?
what?
What about a specter?
What about a specter?
A specter is a spirit, right?
Yeah.
Can a specter fly?
I don't. Can you tell me where you're going with this?
Sure. Lord Dadu can go hunting. And if I kill any humanoid creature, I can cast a cursed specter on it.
Uh-huh.
And it rises up as a specter and serves me.
On-
Could I then make it go straight up and attack this thing?
It would happen on the material plane, not the ethereal.
Which is fine. I don't need to act inside the ethereal plane. But one, could it go high enough to do that? Two, would it be affected by the brain dog and brain cat, whatever, brain thingy? And three, would it be able to do enough damage to actually hurt this thing enough to make it lose its concentration?
So specters can fly, however, they can only hover and it's at 50 feet.
Okay.
Is it
Are-
50 feet from me or 50 feet from the ground?
50 feet from the ground.
Who are you gonna kill?
Ghostbusters.
I have questions. Are we death by dooring this right now?
I mean, you have much easier ways to do this, and you've decided instead to make a new way.
What easier way is there?
Well, I literally said Kelly has the ability to fly without a spell.
I could fly up there and hit it with a dagger. The only thing that could happen is it could attack me, but then you all got my back, right? Hello.
So we'd also have to be flying to do that.
Right.
Can you not shoot 120? Like
5,000?
I got a firebolt. I got you got bows. No.
We're if this thing is 5,000 feet in the air, we can't do.
I thought it
any-
was 120 feet. No, right?
That's the range on our weapons is 120 feet.
It's 5,000 feet in the air. Did I miss that part? I missed that part.
It's really way the hell up. It's so like the thing is
a
that
mile.
Ivor's tower is about 4,000 feet tall. This is the top of the dome, which is about 5,000 feet.
That means that Ivor is not close enough to this thing, like to where like if we did hit it, it wouldn't be able to talk to it, right?
Yeah, he gets the message spell, but that's it.
It can use the message spell, but it's not going to be able to give any more details than what a message spell gives, which is basically a sentence.
Kelly, does your fly cloak thing let you also be invisible?
Yes. Didn't it? I think so.
I'm reading it right now
Let's go
just to
look.
double check here.
So
In an area of dim light or darkness, you can grip the edge of the cloak with both hands and use it to fly at a speed of 40 feet. If you ever fail to grip the cloak's edges while flying in this way, you are no longer in, or if you're no longer in dim light or darkness, you lose the flying speed. While wearing this cloak in an area of dim light or darkness, you can use your action to cast Polymorph on yourself, transforming into a bat. While you are in the form of the bat, you retain your intelligence, wisdom, and charisma scores. The cloak can't be used this way until the next dawn. Once per day, on command, the wearer can surround herself with darkness as the darkness spell.
Woohoo! I'm using that.
So it's like Dracula.
Basically, it's Dracula's cape.
We
Wait.
we missed the part where I don't lose any intelligence, so we have no fear of this thing. So I go up there, stabby, turn into a bat.
I like it.
But can she stabby as a bat?
No,
Um,
like I could fly up there, stab, turn to bat. Somebody watch out for that dagger.
Yeah.
Miles, does this thing sense us 300 feet away, or does it have to see us?
It can sense us within 300 feet if we have an intelligence score of 3 or higher.
So
As a bat, yes, you can deal damage. I just looked up the stats on a bat. A bat's natural attack is the bite. And so you would be rolling to hit as a bat.
So you can't stabby, but you can bitey. But the other flip side to that is, if you're within 300 feet, it doesn't have to see you; it can sense you, and then it can still try to do that damage to you.
But it's concentrating on keeping the wall up, right? So maybe we do like I, as a human, fly up there with my cloak. I can then do. Can I do? I don't know if I can cast a spell while flying. Huh? I probably can't. Huh? Can I?
You can. So the sort of stipulations there is that if you're under the effect of a spell that requires concentration, like if you say you cast fly on yourself, you cannot then also cast another spell that requires concentration. But when it comes to stuff like this, where it is a magical ability off of your item, those work a little differently depending upon the situation. Like in the case of this, you can use the ability on your cloak to cast darkness around yourself, and then you now have the ability to fly at 40 feet of speed during a normal movement.
It's gonna take 20 minutes to fly that far.
But the effect on this is going to go until, what is it? How long is? It's an hour. So you'd have plenty of time to get up there. You would be able to move at double movement speed if you didn't attack or do anything. So that's 80 feet per turn. You'd get up there in about 10 minutes. You would, however, basically look like a 60-foot area of shadow that is flying through the sky. Which, in the current climate of this city, not out of place. Gonna be real honest. That would stand out in some places, not here.
Okay, so I have a
I could hit her
I
with
have a
that.
question. Is this happening now? Is this happening right now?
No,
Or-
just
Brainstorming.
I think we're just talking right now, but I do think that right now this is sounding like the easiest way to accomplish what you're after.
I would like to make a suggestion that something, maybe Kiddo, flies up there with Kelly. I'm sure Ryan can't fully communicate with Kiddo at that distance, but if something bad goes down, Kiddo can stay outside of the 300-foot range and still see, and then fly back and tell us like, hey, Kelly's about to fall and splat. And then we can transfer.
My fly is also from an item. So if that means that like if I hit Dado with it, he could fly up there and getting hit won't break concentration and won't fall, right? Because that's what we're worried about, right? Is the break of concentration or
Yeah, somebody hitting him wouldn't affect concentration at all. It's if they hit you.
okay.
And in your case, it is a little different because the item that gives you that fly spell is your lyre. And so you actually have to use your item in order to use the spell. So you would have to concentrate to play your lyre.
Gotcha. Okay.
Um, sorry were you done, Heather?
That was it. That was the question.
To piggyback off Brooke and everything, can't I just send Kiddo up there?
You can, but after a certain point, you no longer get to control Kiddo.
Right, but if I tell Kiddo what I want her to do, say, look, at the top of this thing, there's a brain with legs. Go bite it. Would that work?
A kiddo will get attacked with the intelligence thingy.
And if Kiddo dies from that and everything, no harm. And I mean that in this great way that all I have to do is sit down for an hour and I can bring Kiddo back. Fresh
That is-
and clean.
That is the joy of Find Familiar, yes.
Yeah, Kiddo is my familiar, and while I love Kiddo, did you hear that, Autumn? I said it. While I love Kiddo, if Kiddo dies, I just hang out for an hour in a cart, and poof, back comes Kiddo.
Can kiddo just go do some reconnaissance for us then?
Kiddo has done that before for us, yeah. But if we're gonna send something up there, I don't know that we want to just do recon on it, because once it's within 300 feet, that thing can sense and relay information back to Ivor.
Yeah.
Mm.
I didn't mean, I was thinking kiddo would not go into the 300-foot bubble. I don't know how you measure that. But that's what I was thinking.
Okay, yeah, so the way that these things work when you're trying to get your familiar to do something when you are outside of the range is that while you're inside the range of the spell, you get to have a certain level of control over what they do. Once they get to a certain level outside that spell range, they retain control of themselves. Once they get outside of that range, they cease to exist.
What range is that?
That is a very long way. It's like the other side of the earth or on a different plane of existence. Like it's a lot. But the idea is that once you're over 300 feet, it's up to them to figure out what to do. They no longer get tips from you. You can, however, give your familiar very explicit instructions, and then I roll whether or not that worked out for them.
Okay,
You're-
so to go back but to death by dooring this though. No, you still said it was 300 feet, right? So it still doesn't work. Never mind.
But what I'm saying is that you definitely can try that option. Every option that you've tried to explore here are a viable option. So really, you're just at a place where you need to pick something. Of all of your options, the one that involves nobody in your party immediately getting harmed is sending Kiddo. It does, however, mean that you are putting the fate of all of you into that little pseudo dragon as to whether or not it goes well. Like, because an intellect devourer has a pretty decent AC for what it is. So if, for instance, Kiddo misses attacking, then this thing gets to attack back. In fact, because Kiddo has over a 3 in intelligence, once it reaches 300 feet, it immediately knows that it's there and is going to cast its Devour Intellect ability.
I have an idea.
Hold on a second. But that you have to make what kind of a saving throw?
Intelligence saving throw.
Okay, because my familiar gets magic resistance. The pseudo dragon has advantage on all saving throws against spells and other magic effects.
I would argue that this isn't a spell, it's an ability.
But it's still a magical effect, isn't it?
Technically, I think you're right, the way that this reads. Because I mean, in here, part of it does say the target must succeed on a DC intelligence saving throw against this magic or take this much damage. So, yeah, okay, I'll give it to you.
So Suda could give it, or Kiddo could give it a whirl. Anybody have any objection to that?
The other side of that, though, is that regardless of whether or not Kiddo is successful in this, if she's not, then it means that you did tip off the intellect devourer, and it is still far enough away, none of you can hit it.
I think Kelly and Kiddo should go together.
Follow Kid up there, let Kiddo do it, and then if so happens to fail, I'm right there to try to do something.
I mean, that could work, especially since you have 60 feet of darkness. So you and Kiddo could fly up in the darkness, and so nothing would see you.
And then if something goes down, Kiddo can fly back and tell Dadu to tell us.
We still have the stones? Can we,
You do. You have two of them. One of them is with Moldair, and one of them is with one of you.
I believe
How
it's with-
far of a range do they have?
Questionable.
5,000 feet?
Plot thread range.
Okay. Will they work at the top of the dome?
I mean, the rules on sending stones are pretty cut and dry. However, I basically use them in my games like they're the equivalent of a cell phone. They're just not always as reliable.
So there may be some static on the line.
It's less static and more if you don't know who made it, they might have made it in such a way that there is a third sending stone so they can listen in. Like the three that Moldair gave you.
Yeah. Who has the third one of those?
Timothy.
Timothy.
Okay. Okay, so are we sending Kelly and Kiddo up? I mean,
Point of order just for a moment. Moldair's not going to need that sending stone anymore because now he has unlocked his ability to just send message spells. So you have a second one here that you can add to your inventory.
So yeah, we can keep one with Kelly and one with someone else and send the two of them together to see if they can shoot this thing down.
yeah,
Or if, and I'm just throwing it out there, but if Tonks wants to use her fly on Lord Dadu, then Lord Dadu can fly up with Kelly and Kiddo, and the three of us can try to attack. And Lord Dadu can see in magic darkness, so that wouldn't affect them.
Might I give a small amount of advice?
Sure.
If you have multiple people in your group that can fly, perhaps it's best if one of them stays on the ground should the others fall.
good plan.
You are muted.
that's what I was thinking. That's why I suggested that Kiddo goes and can come back and alert you because you can y'all have telepathic connection, you and Kiddo?
We
I
do.
Range. So as soon as she's in range, she can be like, hey, Kelly's torch is about to fall out of the sky over there. And you could fly and go.
That's true.
That's a good plan. Let's keep an ace in the hole or whatever.
All right, so is the torching Kiddo to the rescue.
Yeah. And Lord Dadu on standby for rescue and recovery or something.
All right, so I'm gonna spend a moment or a minute or two with Kiddo just in telepathic communication, and I'm giving Kiddo the specific instructions: fly up in the darkness with torch, find the thing that looks like a brain with legs, kind of like a cat dog looking thing, big claws, right? Big weird looking brain thing, and just sneak up behind it quietly and sting it. That's it. Then come home. We're trying to get the big invisible shieldy thing to fall. There's Scooby snacks in it for you.
Okay, so now somebody has to work on making Kiddo snacks. You don't have to do anything to have her understand you. being your familiar, she understands you perfectly what you're trying to explain, to the best of her ability. And she readily agrees to help.
Thanks,
And when
kiddo.
you get up there, we can't talk anymore. So it's got to be your will. This will help us out, okay?
She snuggles around your neck really tightly and then flaps over and sits down on Torch's shoulder.
Torch, take care of my dragon. I will end you if I have to. I'm just saying. Dragon is important.
And that's why you're sending it off to be sacrificed. All right. Mhm.
And darkness! Whoosh! It's you and me, kid, but if one of us has to die, it's me, kid. Anywho. So the two of you ascend, and the lot of you from the ground are now watching exactly as I described, this sort of big moat of blackness that is very easily defined against the backdrop of the buildings, almost completely vanishes from sight the moment that you are now looking up into the darkened, starless, stormy sky. And you can no longer visually keep track of where Torch is. From your perspective, Kelly, as you start to ascend higher and higher, you can see now as you're getting above the tops of the buildings, what areas of the city are just in total bedlam. There are some places where the buildings are completely gone. Nothing is left. There are other places that are on fire. And there are lots of them that are overrun with these creatures that you've been fighting. From your vantage point, it looks like really only the southern area of the map is still untaken. And that's mostly because the force that was moving that way had gotten to the trade district first, and all of you stopped them. So everything north of there is just in utter chaos. And as you rise higher and higher, you can see things that you could not see from the ground. Mainly as you get higher up, about the, we'll call it the 2,000, maybe 3,000 foot range, you start to see that the upper levels of Ivor's tower are almost crawling. They seem to be shifting unnaturally against each other in a way that you've never seen before. And maybe that's the act of magic, or maybe it's the act of something other that's terrible and horrible in this place. But it catches your eye immediately. You can see that there is a swarm of these those bats that you had seen before whenever they were coming through after you'd stolen the painting, that are still sort of hovering around the exterior of this city, sort of watching, almost like working as Ivor's eyes. And you catch this almost overwhelmingly putrid and noxious scent coming up from over near his tower and across the wind over to where you are. It smells almost like a garbage dump and fresh death. The most absolutely gutturally horrible thing that you can imagine has crept its way up and around you and blown past on the wind. Please, can you make a perception check for me? Big money, big money.
Right? I hit the button. Did it do nothing? Did it do nothing? I'm gonna hit it again.
Sometimes it does nothing and sometimes it does nothing.
Oh, it did nothing.
Okay, I got it. Perception check of 8. So
Wah, wah.
it's been a low roll kind of night. All I can imagine is something really huge is going to happen in the next 30 minutes, and we're going to need a 20. Okay, yeah, from an 8 in perception, you're not going to get much more than what I told you. One thing you can tell, it's the water in all of the I want to say sewer system, but you can't see the sewers from here. I mean, all of like the interconnecting cross streams, the ones that cut through different parts of the city where there are little bridges overarching it and things like that, they are dry. And you know, because you just came out of the sewer, that it wasn't that way like literally hours ago. That's the only other thing you're picking up right now. Continue up, 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 up. And as you get closer to this thing, we'll say that you're now within about 500 feet. So like outside its range, but close enough now you can plainly see it. Its claws are latched into the shield itself, and it is sort of dangling upside down, brain side down. And creeping along this thing like some sort of horrible bug. Its gray matter twitches every once in a while, which you can amount to it speaking to something. But you don't see anything else in the vicinity. Now that you're this close, I'm gonna give you the option. What are you going to do from here? Like, give you the opportunity to figure out how you want to approach this. I know that what the plan was is that you were going to get Kiddo close enough to try and deliver the blow. I guess my question for that is that, are you going to try and come up directly underneath this thing? Or are you going to try and come up towards like the top of the shield further away and then come up closer to it from the side? I'm sort of trying to figure out how you're approaching it.
Oh, I like getting to the side, right? Like getting up on its level and then coming to the side.
Okay, cool. So at this point, like actually for a while now, Kiddo is outside of the range where Dadu can give any type of guidance. And you can see as you're getting closer and closer to this thing that she is getting, we'll call it impatient, and ready to follow her commands. So I'm going to need you to make an animal handling check real quick. Fuck yeah. 16 is plenty. So yeah, without even having to say a word, you're able to somehow calm down this tiny dragon until you reach level with this thing. Are you going to move within range of its detection? Or are you going to stay outside of that range and just set Kiddo in?
Oh, I'm just going to send Kiddo in.
Okay. Then let's see.
Now, do I roll for Kiddo for the whole saving thing? And if so, how do I do that?
Yes.
Don't-
Okay. What?
Oh, I'm out. Sorry.
Okay, so the detection, there's nothing to roll against for that. It just detects you if you have an intelligence of 3 or higher. It then is going to make Kiddo make an intelligence saving throw. So, do you have the stats for a pseudo dragon?
I have the stats for one, but like I can see its intelligence is 10.
Okay, so it's got +0.
Right. I don't have anything to roll with unless you just want me to roll a plain die.
Roll a d20, and since you have a modifier of 0, it's just whatever the 20 is.
Okay, but I'd roll 2 because I get advantage on it, right? Because it has the magic resistance.
Then yes, that's right.
Okay. Oh, come on, be good. Well, that sucked.
That's 6. Next one.
No, I rolled 2. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. I rolled 2, a 5 and a 1.
5 and a 1. I see it now. I got it. Okay, so yeah.
It's did or no?
Then that means that it takes. Let's see. Okay, that's 12. Takes 12 psychic damage.
So that goes directly to the intelligence, right?
This is just regular damage. The next part is the intelligence.
Oh, so in that case, I'm imagining you just kind of see Kiddo go poof out of existence.
Yeah, this thing sort of wriggles its brain and snaps, and you can see Kiddo sort of disintegrate like in Endgame. And now you are left there, Kelly, about 500 feet out from this thing. And you can see it now that that has happened, that it is now starting to walk in your direction. It still can't detect you because you're outside of its range, but it is now walking towards you, which would be towards the tower. Because it's behind you at this point.
And we didn't break its concentration at all?
I mean, it did have to attack. Well, an attack with its magic ability.
That's correct. So because what it was attacking with wasn't concentration based and it didn't take any damage, its concentration did not get destroyed. It didn't get interrupted.
Ah.
So you have to actually deal it damage in order for it to have a chance at losing that concentration.
So it's up to you.
So I'd have to get it in range and try to give it damage, right?
Mhm.
Oh yeah, super.
You can, and so your speed is 40. So you would be able to get what's the longest range spell you have? It's like 100
Longest,
feet.
yeah, 120 feet with a firebolt.
Okay, so you'd have almost 3 rounds of movement before you'd be right next to it if it didn't move. But its speed is also 40 feet. So if it's moving at a full clip, that's 80 feet in this turn. 40 feet, and then yeah, 2 turns and you're on top of each other. So if you move closer and it moves closer, you still have 1 round before it can detect you. Yeah.
But that's
But I'm not close enough to do anything.
Not yet, no. Something that does happen though is that Lord Dadu, regardless of whether or not Kiddo is still like connected with you psychically, the moment that Kiddo ceases to exist, you are 100% aware of it.
So I'm going to immediately tell the group, Kiddo tried bravely and failed. And Kiddo is gone, but never fear, I'll get her back. I just can't do it right now because, oh, actually, I could do it right now if Tonks is willing to make sure Kelly didn't fall from the sky and die. Because it only takes one of us with Fly to be able to make sure she doesn't fall, right?
Yeah, I could do that. That's fine.
All right, so I'm going to just tell everybody that, and I'm gonna kind of hang my head, and I'm gonna walk back into the barn and just sit down and start concentrating to cast the Find Familiar.
Okay. So next round, you're now within range of the Intellect Devourer. Of its detection, not of its spells. So now it knows you're there. And your full movement. 1 more round, it's full movement. It's still not within range to attack. Okay, you would be in range to attack within the next round after that. So before it gets to have an attack. Do you want to attack this thing?
Yes.
Cool.
Please.
I'm not even going to have us roll an initiative here because you 100% get to hit first. This thing, its entire plan right now was to move closer and closer to where the tower is, and then it encountered your thoughts. And so now it knows something's there, but it hasn't had a chance to react to that yet. So if you want to attack it, what are you going to attack it with?
Firebolt.
Firebolt. Do it. Yeah.
Wah, wah.
Oh boy. That does not hit.
I don't see.
That's a 9. Okay. And even at another full movement, it's still not within range to attack you yet.
This is a reminder. Time
Alexa,
to go
stop.
read, everybody.
Time to poop, everyone.
No, this one isn't poop related.
That's the one. Yeah, even if it moves a full movement on its turn, it still isn't close enough to attack you yet. So you still get another attack on it.
All right. Fire away then.
Fire!
All right.
That's a hit.
Finally.
That's a 24. That'll definitely hit.
Yes.
Okay,
I don't see it, but yay.
give me the damage.
Yeah.
17. Okay. Okay. That's the wrong die. Sorry. This- Seven. Okay. All right, so Torch, so distance wise, this thing is now about 60 feet from you. Like close enough that you can probably smell it. And it smells like rotting brains. But it is still not close enough to attack you yet. And this time, when you level your firebolt at it and deal it 17 damage, that is almost its entire hit point count.
Oh, nice.
So first I rolled for its concentration. It maintained its concentration. Second I rolled was to see if it lost its grip on the shield, and it failed that roll.
Good then.
And the third roll that I've got there is for it to not take an additional 1d6 psychic damage from the fear of the fall, and it failed. So you just killed an intellect devourer, Kelly.
All right. Whoop, whoop.
You hit this thing with a firebolt that scorched the entire exterior of it. And you can hear in your mind the sound of almost like a squealing, shrieking pig. And then out of your head entirely. And then you see this thing sort of limply let go one paw at a time. And then down below, Lord Dadu is now inside of the barn, communing, trying to get his familiar back. The other two are standing around watching to make sure that nothing bad happens. And then, like a water balloon the size of a St. Bernard, Brains explode all over the courtyard.
Gross.
It is definitely in your fur. I can hear her cry from here.
Larn-
Awesome. Okay, so from your perspective, Kelly, up top, you can see that there are these now tiny cracks that are starting to form along this shield, almost like the same way you would see in glass. The shield itself doesn't appear to be disappearing as much as it does seems to be dissipating. These type of shield spells have a certain amount of hit points, but the hit points on a shield can only be dealt against it with magic. So you're going to have to try one more thing on this in order to bust the shield out. What do you got?
Yeah, lots of things, especially if I could touch it. Can I touch it?
You can
Do, do,
definitely touch
do.
it. Yeah, you can definitely touch it.
A shocking grasp,
Sure.
right?
That's a touch
Lightning
spell.
springs. All right.
Awesome. That's a hit.
All right.
Yeah,
Damage.
Rich.
Awesome. That shatters the top of this thing, popping it almost like a bubble. And you can see all of this is now shattering into tiny pieces, almost like glass, but instead of falling down, it's all sort of slowly flipping and falling outward like leaves in the wind. And now you feel something that you haven't felt since you got into this city. The wind.
Mhm.
And you can feel it blow through here, and you can smell the soot from the volcano in miles and miles away. You can see now further out into the surrounding countryside where you had last encountered that red dragon, and most of the remains are still there. There are all of the landmarks you passed getting here, everything exactly as you remember it, the way that you haven't been able to see it since you got here. It's now, though, in the sweet smell of fresh air that you can truly detect how putrid this city has become. The undeath that radiates through here is palpable on the wind. I assume you're going to go back to your group, but you also
Yes.
technically at this point have the opportunity to be like, you know what? Fuck this, I'm out. It's been real, guys.
Is
Did anybody see where Torch was going?
oh money.
Just have all the money.
Is Mulder out, or is he still down in the hole?
Mulder?
Yeah.
Mulder's still down in the vault. We'll call it a vault. That's the nice way.
And tell him that do his thing, because
Okay.
much time, I would assume.
Yeah. Yes. So you all from your vantage point can also start to see this thing sort of peeling back and away. It is almost like overwhelming how beautiful something like this can be, regardless of how unbelievably awful everything else in this situation is. To see magic on this scale is something that most people don't ever experience.
Scary.
Which is both entrancing and foreboding. Within moments, Torch is able to descend back to the group of you. Tonks runs over to see Mulder he is already in the midst of preparing the ritual to sort of not counter the modify memory, but sort of lay something else on top of him. And this is going to take a little bit of time. But I should have it ready in the next hour. And he immediately goes back to work. Ritual casting takes time. Where like your regular spells, you can just do them. Because in a ritual, you have to get all of your individual pieces to it together in just the right way. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Now that you've broken that shield around the outside of the city, though, where are you? Are you going to leave here? Are you going to stay here and wait it out now that you know that Moldair's got his abilities back?
I think it's wise to hunker down here for now.
Yeah, I think we should
Maybe
wait
take
for
a
him
rest.
to be ready to cast the ritual or do the ritual.
Okay.
I think if it's possible, we should probably take a long rest, recoup any spells and whatnot that we've expended, because I'm sure this is going to piss Ivor off in a huge way.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Your if you want to take a long rest, you can, but remember a long rest is a long time. And you'd have to go without being interrupted to gain any of the benefits from it. Some of you get things back at short rests, but I believe that that's almost exclusively Warlock. I believe that wizards and sorcerers don't get their spells back except at long rests.
I think we should at least wait for Moldair to finish his ritual, and then once he's ready, we can form up a plan.
Okay.
Well, does it say anywhere when I get my spell slots back?
Where?
No, I'm asking on my spell or on my sheet. Does
Mhm.
it tell me anywhere when I get things back?
Oh, you'll get your spells back after a short rest, I believe, as a warlock. I don't know if it says it on your sheet. I'm looking right now. Yeah, here it is. Arcane Recovery. Once per day, when you finish a short rest, you can choose expended spell slots to recover, up to a combined level of 6, and none of the slots can be a 6th level or higher. Oh, no, wait, that's... Yeah, I'm reading the wrong thing. Apologies. Too many things open. Here we go. Features and traits.
So Kelly just went like a mile in the air.
Uh-huh.
Like straight up.
Basically, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Kelly, are you going to tell it? What did you see? Torch, what did you see up there?
Oh, it's true. I saw that all the water's gone. So that makes me curious.
What could that possibly be? Could things be getting worse here? I think it's got to be on the Warlock page.
I think it's funny too, because a lot of my spells use water. So I was looking at all of them and you're like, oh yeah, no, there's no more water. I'm like, oh, okay.
Right. From up there, were you able to see my mom and the other people in my guild that went towards the other guild that I forgot the name of?
I'll say yes. But you could definitely see the Rottens heading towards the summer quarter. That's
And they
where
were okay.
that's where the Summer Fae all work out of.
And were they okay?
Kelly would be far up in the air to be able to tell whether or not they were all right, but
Okay,
they all seem to be moving.
I'll take that.
What were you eating earlier? They looked like chocolate bonbons and they looked really good.
Yeah, they were lint truffles. Lint? Yeah, lint.
That's awesome.
Yeah. A teacher at work brought them to me last 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago. Whenever teacher appreciation week was, I don't even know. She brought me a bag of them. The kids ate half the bag. It was rude. They didn't like the dark chocolate ones, so I had a couple of those left.
Short or long rest.
Nice.
Yeah, yours is short or long. Sorcerers recovered theirs. Let's see. After long rests.
So at the very least, I would like to take a short rest. Also, what time of day is it right now?
So that's actually a fun question because now that you've broken that shield, you can see a bit more. You can see the stars in the sky.
Okay, so it's night,
Correct.
because that also means at dawn I get my my true sight back for the mask.
How far is it? How long is it till dawn?
I don't know.
Short rest length.
I don't know that any of you really have the way to tell that exactly. But I can tell you that it's probably somewhere after midnight.
Okay, but I think the consensus is that we're gonna wait the hour at least for Mulder to get the ritual ready, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
No, so if you're going to wait, there's no need for you to like wander about. An hour is a very short amount of time. You can probably just all sort of talk over what the hell just happened, and that's going to take the same amount of time. As you do, you can physically feel it's almost like there's a hand that reaches up the back of your neck and places itself over the top of your head. And then you completely lose the feeling. And when you do, things seem clearer.
who is this happening to?
This is happening to all of you.
Everyone. Okay.
There's work.
Huh?
Mulder's work.
Things seem clearer. And River,
Yes.
you most of all are the one that gets something out of this.
Oh.
Since you've been here for a very long time, you now can recall that Ivor only arrived in this city about 3 weeks ago. That he came in fire and brimstone, and the forces of Reef tried to repel him but failed because he was able to erect some sort of monstrous contraption in the center of town.
And we were probably really disorganized in our attacks. We're like 13 different guilds and we couldn't like coordinate.
You were all disorganized, and the one guild that had the most power and influence was telling you everything was going to be okay.
Right, because they were working with
No, initially it's because the Iron Barons were working with a different person. His name was Gemroot Flipheart, and that was the original leader of the Iron Barons, who believed that because they were the strongest and the wisest of all the guilds, that they could repel whatever the hell happened. And then this massive shadow monster flew out of the sky and ate him whole. And when he did, the fire in the forge went out.
So this has only been going on for 3 weeks.
3
But
weeks.
before this cleared, we thought it had been, we, the people who live in Reeth, had thought it had been going on for like,
Hundreds and hundreds of years.
right. Okay. So I'm like right now having this like jarring moment where I realize what I thought was my whole life has actually been the last 3 weeks, but I also remember everything that happened before that.
You simultaneously have 2 memories, yes.
Shit balls. Okay. That's a lot.
And what Mulder was trying to do with that ritual was to be able to do that without making your brain implode.
So that was the,
Speaking of balls.
No, kitty.
Sorry.
Nah,
I love it.
Mm,
that's how you can tell they like you. Yeah, so
Can I
you
just sit down?
simultaneously, River, you have both of these sets of memories. It is almost too much for you to bear, knowing that you have lived in this town where you have felt totally and completely out of place, where things have felt wrong and off, and everyone seems like they are affected by this darkness.
Mhm.
But no matter how dark and terrifying and horrible this city became, there was something about your spirit that could not be broken.
Hmm.
And that is what brought this group of adventurers to Ivor. You figured out how to help your people because you felt like this was the right way to go
Hmm.
for some reason. And that's where I'm going to call game.
Woo! That's where I'm gonna call you today.
Hey, Miles, if his ritual is done, does that also mean my ritual to recast Kiddo should be done?
We'll
Is
say
it
yes.
It takes an hour. All
We'll
right.
say yes.
So poof, Kiddo just shows back up in the courtyard.
Actually, so fun thing about Find Familiar. I'm going to roll percentile.
Uh-oh.
On a 2 through 99, it is exactly who you meant to summon. On a 1 or a 0, it is still Kiddo, but it is no longer a pseudo dragon. It is a different creature entirely.
What?
You look at this like a terrible thing. I look at this like, well, if I have to, I'll just kill it again and get my dragon back.
The thing is also that once you've actually summoned the familiar, you can cast Find Familiar again, and instead of summoning it again, you can change its form.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes it even easier.
Right. So it means you summon it and then another short rest, and now it's back to being what you want it to be. But again, it is a very small % chance that that will happen at all, but it can happen. So I'm going to roll percentile. You got a pseudo dragon back.
Yeah. So I have a question. Is it possible that Rivers Guild is not the worst guild in the city, that's just some kind of bullshit ruse? Maybe.
Actually, they're not the worst guild in the city. In fact, they're actually like right up in the same level as the Iron Barons were, but they don't have as much control. Because Ogrim refused to use force to take over his part of the city.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Miles,
Yes.
I know we're technically over and everything, but can I talk to Modair real quick to see if I can tell him about Find Familiar and he can make it into a scroll?
No.
Now, is there a way that I can do that?
The thing is that, yes, that is possible, but we will not tackle that right now. I guess I should be more clear. That is 100% something that a level 20 spellcaster like him can do. He has access to the spell. He can definitely write it down for you. That is not an issue. However, right now, there's a lot of things going on. And also, we just called game. So, is it possible? 100%. If you are afraid that it won't happen, make a note and say it to Mulder next game.
Got it. So I'm just going to tell Heather to make a note of that. It's not for me. I have the spell.
I won't forget.
It's for her. That's why I had. So what are we doing for experience points?
Let's see. An intellect devourer doesn't actually have a lot of experience points to itself, but the encounter was far more intense than that.
We had to fly a mile into space.
I mean, it wasn't space.
I mean, almost. I think Kelly should at least get a lot of experience points. She
Okay,
flew
sure.
into space.
I will calculate up how many experience points I would give to all 5 of you, and I will give it just to Kelly.
I'm fine with that. She flew a mile into space and killed a brain.
The whole rest of the party is down there going, man, I wonder when Torch is gonna get back. Ding ding ding, XP bar over the top of their head.
Hey,
It's just
I
good
lost a
chunks of
very dear friend of mine. Okay,
Yeah, you
Temporarily.
got her.
and she's gonna cry. She already got mad at me.
Half your plan was to send her up there,
Yes, I'm aware of that.
be resummoned.
So let's see.
I didn't expect her to actually die.
Okay.
I gotta pull out my calculator to do this because I can't do these things in my head.
Yeah, if you do it in your head, you get it wrong, and then your girlfriend figures it out later. That happened.
true
once.
story. True story.
You don't hear me refute.
Yeah, well, it was for real.
I didn't have any room to try and defend myself there. You're absolutely right.
I am absolutely right.
You should have
Okay.
seen. I was texting Autumn the whole time I was sending her up there. I said, "And Kiddo's gonna try to save the world." She goes, and I said, "And you're not here to listen." And she says, "I'm sorry." And then I replied back, "And Kiddo just died." And she replied back in all caps, "You lie." Like, nope. But I can get her back.
Don't worry, we have video proof.
Okay, should River do a 1-minute summary of what happened tonight for the recording for William to watch? He won't have to watch the whole hour and two. I could do a 1-minute summary.
That's actually not a bad idea for us to start doing, is putting a TLDR at the end of an episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, I fully endorse it if you'd like to do that.
Okay, let me think back to the beginning. What are we
Don't forget to mention the part where Ymir dies.
Okay, so here's what happened while you were gone. I was down in the hole with Mulder and Torch and Tonks while Mulder was attuning to the ring. And then at the same time, Lord Dadu and you were up in the barn just chilling, and all of a sudden Lord Dadu saw runes on the ceiling that were glowing, and there was a warning about, well, it ended up being a warning not to steal the treasure. And so around that time is when Mulder came out of his attunement trance. I don't know, maybe it's called that. And he said a lot of really confusing things about spells and like the Ivor was a totally bad dude. And then he told us that one of the ways, well, before Mulder could fix everybody's memories, we were going to have to go kill a brain up at the top of a dome that's 5,000 feet in the air. And it took us a few minutes debating, brainstorming. You might say, oh my gosh, you killed the brain with lightning. It was a brain. So we brainstormed, and finally the determination was that Torch and Kiddo were going to fly up there. And if something bad went down, Kiddo would come back and tell us. But what actually happened is that Kiddo died right away, and Kelly brainstormed the bad brain thing, and she cracked the dome open, and now we have stars again, which is cool. And I all of a sudden remembered everything in my whole life. It was a busy night. We missed you.
Well, that was
Have a good summary?
that was a hell of a recap. I like that.
Thanks.
So based off of tonight's XP, everyone, don't start writing this down yet. Everyone should get 310 experience points. However, because of that right there, I'm gonna let Brooke make the call. We can either increase the experience points based on the idea of adding a TLDR, or you can get an inspiration point.
Oh, I had a good idea, and I get an inspiration point. Listen,
can either-
I'm gonna all the love, but we're about to fight a big bad, and I think that an inspiration point in a little while could become helpful.
I think you're right. Hang on to it.
Okay, so 310 for everybody.
Whoop, whoop. Thank you. Nom nom nom.
Manage experience.
I met another D&D player out in the wild. And
Ooh.
yes, they looked like they play D&D. Beard to the belly button and TNT Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles shirt. And I think he even had an axe as a necklace. But yeah, definitely.
Nice.
I love that.
310.
Yeah, 300. That should put us at 2410.
It did indeed.
That's what I have.
Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording, but I'll sign off and say it was great having everybody here, and I hope nobody tells William what we said.